welcome back. We're the Monsters of the Morning. He's Mike North. I'm Dan Jiggetts. We're joined by John Crist, the publisher of The Bear Report.
And why wait for an operator? Order online and save time. We get everything right with your advanced reservation. Order for immediate pickup coming soon, but not yet. Will be internet ordering from airports with your web-enabled cell phone. American Taxi is the innovator in the taxi industry. From being the first taxi company in the U.S. to accept credit cards in 1976 to its online ordering today. Listen, folks, you need to go to the airport. They got set rates from any suburb in the Chicagoland area. You check them out. American Taxi Dispatch, Inc.
All right, let's continue our conversation with John Crist. And John, we look forward now, because I think we can safely say 30-6 win over the Browns to be expected.
Yeah,
right.
it's a win.
But I will say this,
maybe
too.
About 15 points more.
I will say this in defense of my Bears. I thought that the game would be closer. So whatever way they got it done, when I saw that 13-point spread, I'm going, this game's going to be closer. And I think a lot of people did, and it wasn't. So I'm going to give them credit. They did what they do, and the defense stepped up. Robbie Gold's automatic whenever he gets a chance.
I'm not saying they don't deserve any credit, but let's just make sure not to get too crazy
I don't think I saw
here.
Ron Turner or Lovey thrilled.
No,
I know if you're
they
Jerry
weren't.
Angelo, you're scratching your head.
I think Lovey was looking at it from the standpoint of
win.
his defense.
We got to win.
We got to win,
right.
And we got some turnovers. 5 to be exact.
Yeah, I will tell you this though. I don't believe Lovey Smith's the best defensive coordinator on the field yesterday. I think with that team,
Rob Ryan.
Oh my God,
really
that guy's changing up coverages. And you want to talk about activity, trying to fool somebody because he doesn't have the players. He really doesn't.
Hard to think he and his brother were once ball boys for the beloved.
Well, that's just the way Lovie Smith runs his defense. For the most part, it's a pretty generic approach compared to that 3-4 Ryan type defense.
Hey, I wanted to ask you something to go back to the Bears game though. Yesterday, you were at the game. Let's talk a little bit about the halftime ceremony that they held to honor Walter on the occasion of his the 10th anniversary of his passing.
Yes.
From what I understand, the Bears did a hell of a job.
It was very, very nice. So
Jared
many.
And Brittany.
Yeah, Jared Payton was there. Brittany Payton was there. Connie Payton. I spent a little time with Jared and Brittany over the years. Very, very nice people, and they do amazing things with the Walter Payton Foundation. I know Connie was talking during halftime about the big toy drive they're trying to do for the holidays, and it's a shame people like me during the halftime, we don't get much of a break covering the game. You got to use the restroom, you got to go grab a bite to eat real quick, but I made sure to watch as much of that as I possibly could, and from my personal perspective, I was never an organ donor until about 2 days after Walter passed.
Right.
So,
he did so much.
That was my wake-up call to realize that I needed to do something better to potentially help people down the road. And I hope other people take that example because it really was well done. And if there were more people like that 10 years ago, we might not be in this situation now. And that's sort of the shame of this.
Dennis Gentry was also there. Big E was there also. I will say this. It was on CBS. And I thought that maybe the coverage could have been better at halftime. They want to get back to the studio.
It could have existed.
Yeah, it could have existed. Once I saw that they weren't going to do it, I started moving around on my direct TV to see the other games, see how everything else was transpiring, to see how Orton was doing this. I mean, he wasn't doing well, to see what other people were doing. I'm here to tell you, there should have been something more.
I agree, absolutely.
I mean,
I was disappointed because
they hyped it up. I was waiting for it.
I figured they could like a little 5-minute thing of it and then go back to the studio for.
Well, I don't think that was the Bears' fault. I think
it is.
That's an NFL thing. That's a network thing. Because there's one thing that's always amazed me is that the halftime in the NFL is so short. I mean, from the end of the second quarter to the beginning of the third quarter, it's only about a 12 or 13 minute break. There just wasn't enough time to really give the tribute that number 34
and you
deserves.
figure 2 minutes in, 2 minutes out. In terms of,
I don't understand.
It was the Cliff Notes version.
I don't understand the 3:05 starting times and the 3:15 starting times. I really don't. What time do they start all the games for the first round? At noon.
Yeah.
What the hell is this 3:05, 3:15? You can start everything at 3:15. Because everybody gets there late.
That's right. Because
doesn't make any sense.
The games go over a lot. So
does Terry Bradshaw got to talk another 10 minutes?
Well, they're trying to get all the games looped up because you've got a lot of games that that stagger in terms of the endings. So they figure if they give you that little bit of a break in there, it'll get all.
So why would you have a game at 3:05 when there's still 4 games going on at that time from the earlier?
It also gives you an opportunity that if one game ends a couple minutes earlier, they can shift to the last couple minutes of another game. It's all from
an old-time gambler from back in the day. That 3:05 games put extra added pressure to gentlemen that are sitting at home that are down and chasing,
sweating.
They need that 3:15.
Well, if we're talking about networks, why do they have the first pitch of the World Series after most 10-year-olds go to sleep?
I'll tell you this though: when baseball honors somebody on a national type television, they do it right. They really do.
Let's look ahead a little bit. First of all, we got the Cardinals coming in this weekend.
Surprisingly, coming off a bad loss to the Panthers.
Boy, they were brutal.
That's the worst news that the Bears
Yes.
could get. I saw that game yesterday. Well, from what I saw yesterday, John Fox finally got somebody's attention. Jake Delhomme finally got the job done. They were winning 28-7, so that wasn't even close. Now the Bears got to build on that. Maybe Arizona comes in, they're banged up a little bit, and Warner will do what you said, Danny, during the break. He'll throw the ball.
He'll put it up a few times.
Yeah, well, look at the numbers.
You
Look at the numbers of that game.
Good night.
The Cardinals came into that game, believe it or not, with the #1 rushing defense in the entire NFL. But then they faced that Carolina Panthers team. For some reason, has gotten away from that dominant running game, and they put up over 200 yards on the ground with D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart. So that tells me, ignore those numbers a little bit, you can run the ball on the Arizona Cardinals. It's just a matter of, will the Bears do it? Are they capable of opening those same holes?
You know, sometimes those numbers fool you because
Sure they do.
a team, let's say...
Don't you think everybody's defensive numbers for the Bears will go up this week?
Exactly.
Because
They
what
will.
happened. Look at how great they are at turnover.
Right. But what happens a lot of times, though, is that, a team, let's say they're kind of weak in the passing game, in defending the pass. All of a sudden, everybody comes and says, we're going to load up and throw the ball.
Sure.
So the defensive run numbers always look better than they should.
Well, that's what's happened with the Vikings the last couple of years. When you got the Williams boys up front, I mean, I remember the Patriots going into Minnesota a couple of years ago. They made no attempt whatsoever to even think about running the ball. They're going to do what they do best. They're going to exploit the weaknesses of the other team, and they're going to chuck, chuck, chuck. And so you have to look at what you can do and exploit it, as opposed to going out of your way to be balanced just for balance's sake.
So, and I go back to the Bears game against the Browns, and I'll credit the offense with something that they did that I thought they really needed to do, and that is that they did stay with the run.
Right.
They kept after it, even
They committed.
not being successful
Because they had
on
the
every
lead.
try.
Right.
They had the lead.
Exactly
Mike's right.
But
Mike's
you
right.
kept banging away. Because you know how it is. You get frustrated when you run the ball and you gain a yard here.
The cover
2 yards
two is
there,
for
3
people
yards
that
there.
have the lead.
Right.
Like John
That's how it's
said.
designed.
And you know what? Then you can keep running the ball. If they're down 10-0
You
to
gotta throw the
Arizona,
ball. You gotta
you
throw
got to
the ball.
throw because you got Jay there for a reason.
Right.
I mean, let's not forget, he has 3 100 passer rating games. It's time for him to get back.
Yeah.
It's time for this team to get themselves back together. It's time for Jay to get his head clear. And his body language is horrible, even during a winning game. Isn't it, John?
If you were getting your butt kicked as bad
I
as he
can't
was
tell if they're
yesterday,
winning or
I can
losing.
understand.
That I do.
Yes.
That I agree with you. But that body language, I mean, the other team sees it too.
But Dan's right about committing to the running game. I know the numbers weren't really there, but the Browns were surrendering 170 yards on the ground per game. I know the Bears had good rushing
Bears hit
numbers.
their average.
They hit exactly 170,
170.
but I know they hit 170 exactly, but
Forte
again,
averaged 3.5 yards a carry.
Forte, 3.5 yards per carry. A lot of those yards was Cutler on scrambles. They
I
got
need
some
him to run.
garbage.
We
They
need
got a
him to
big
run.
garbage
And,
run by Garrett Wolf at the end, so
right.
those numbers are deceiving. 3.5 yards per carry is not great for Matt Forte, but he did have the attempts, and Lovie Smith will always tell you that the rushing attempts is just as important as the yards per carry because at least you're committing to it and you can hold back that pass
Well, I
rush.
tell you what, that one touchdown run he had where he bounces back over to the right side.
All vision.
And also Des Clark with a huge block on the end.
Absolutely.
He's one of the best, absolutely.
John, look where you go. Mark
Thank you,
it,
my friend.
baby.
Gents, thank you very much.
You get to be a regular.
Oh, these are piling up. You guys should come with. I'm buying for everybody.
Hey, by the way, don't go away because when we come back, we're going to talk about the future of this wonderful show, the best morning show in the free world.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely.
That's one of
I'm
those
on.
block countries as well. John, thanks so much, man. We're going to take a break
Anytime.
in the Monsters in the morning, and then we'll return for hour number 2, and we will address the news on the future of the show.